First time I met Ben Terry, he looked like a sweaty Baptist preacher. It was his first day. He had come in to be interviewed for the job, and I was told by the news director to greet him and spend some time with him to kind of see what he was about. And he was a real likable guy. Little did I know he would turn into a favorite for Southwest Louisiana.
I remember John telling me he reminded him on first impression of a Southern Baptist preacher. We all had that in common with our faith. And I thought the same thing the first time I saw him. And I thought, I'm going to be a lot for him at 4 o'clock in the morning. But we quickly realized we had a lot more in common, and his quirky parts of his personality kind of meshed with the outgoing, spirited parts of mine.
I got here, my parents dropped me off and left, and I'll never forget Ben texted me and goes, "Hey, we got an AMS meeting at the National Weather Service. You can come meet the new meteorologist. They're from Lafayette and Beaumont and across the region." He said, come there, then we'll go out to eat. And I'll never forget, we got in his car and started driving around, and he was giving me a tour and telling me all about Lake Charles, and we had this thunderstorm. He goes, "Yeah, we get these during the summer. These are usually pretty bad." And I'll never forget, the roads start flooding and things like that. And Ben's like, "You gotta hang on 2 hands on the steering wheel. It could get a little squirrely."
So one of our old bosses, Charlie Haldeman, moved me to mornings, and that's how I was able to become really good friends with Ben. So think about this. We're on the same schedule. We're working 3:30 to 12:30 every day. But then we still go home and we would still FaceTime each other. And sometimes it would just be like a phone where it's like a phone call where you just put the phone down and you're not even looking at the phone, but you're still in the back. I don't know, it was such a weird connection that I think that type of relationship only comes once in a lifetime.
You know what? I'm feeling pretty confident today.
When we ended up hiring Ben, I knew he was going to be a good meteorologist then, but I did get to see him grow and become a much better meteorologist with time working here at KPLC. So definitely saw that growth over in a fairly short amount of time. He really came into his own, and obviously with more time really got there.
It didn't take long to transition from 3 coworkers kind of meshing together at this weird time of the day, where we're all thrust into a very public job, but spending so many waking hours with each other. It quickly transitioned to where we really weren't just friends, it truly was like family.
I've never understood whether or not Ben was like a little brother or a son, but he was okay, let me reset here. I got down a hole. We had a saying on Sunrise, fake it till you make it. And so we just enjoyed each other. And I think the more we did shows together, we realized that we were becoming more than just coworkers. We were good friends. We could read, whether it was going to be a good day or not. He could read me, I could read him. Our co-anchors all knew each other. We would do things outside the station. There would be a holiday coming up, and I know that Ben would be working, in town, so we would invite him to our family's Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners. Brittany did the same thing with her family as well, and he was like Cousin Ben. He was there with us and enjoyed, and he stayed the entire time. He didn't just leave early or get out of town, because he felt like he was not wanted. He was truly loved by my family, and it was just amazing to have him in our midst.
We knew we had something special. I still feel like we have something special, even as the years go by and our paths go different ways. It's there, and it will never go away.
Hey Al, do you think I could use your neck of the woods in my weather?
I will drop you like a bag of dirt.
He just loves Louisiana. He just fell right into the community, and the community loves him so much. Whenever the hurricane came up, Hurricane Laura, and everybody saw the passion that he had for making sure everybody was safe. It wasn't even about, we had this storm coming and you had to take care of your house and everything, but he was more worried about our community than himself.
I really looked up to Ben because Ben really cared about Southwest Louisiana, and Ben really wanted everybody to understand the severity of this and that it wasn't going to be like another Rita. And I'll never forget, the look on his face, seeing the town that he'd called home for almost 10 years, getting hit by one of these catastrophic events. And it just broke my heart, and to see how Ben was reacting to it. And I'd only been here about a year, and it really touched me to see how much he cared about other people. And even though he was losing his home and he was dealing his own things here, he wanted to make sure Southwest Louisiana was okay before himself.
He didn't go out of his way to dramatize anything, and when he said it's time to leave town, folks believed him. But I think they believed him from the reputation that he had from all those other storms before. When he said change the channel if you don't like what you see on television, that kind of goes against anything that we've ever been taught in the business. You don't tell people to change the channel, but I got to admit, when I heard him say that, I went, way to go, Ben.
He just really loved the science behind it, and I really admired that about him. And I think that's why I genuinely fell in love with him. I thought about him as a brother, as someone I can look up to. Obviously, we would goof around and just talk about TV shows and what happened in our day. But I think anytime I had a question about weather, he was on point.
Ben did the morning schedule and I'm at night, so we hardly ever saw each other unless it was outside of work. If we saw each other at work, we always joke that that's usually a bad sign. That either means there was some bad weather overnight, or God forbid, some sort of hurricane situation or something like that. So on a daily basis, I did not have much interaction with him, at least as far as work was concerned, but I knew I didn't need to. I could trust that no matter what was going on in the morning, Ben would be able to handle that, and he did.
I think Ben has just a natural gift from above. He's one of the reasons I left Lake Charles with my family during Hurricane Laura. I was no longer working in news, but I thought, shoot, if Ben says it, I'm taking him seriously because I trust him. I know how good he is at looking at this and that he's not going to blow something out of proportion. He did truly help save lives in our community. He had the gift, and it was a gift to us that he shared it with us.
Your winds at that point in time are going to be maxing out gusts at
Ben
times.
had a little experience before he came to us, so it was very easy to work with him on the air, but I was most impressed by the way he became a part of the community. He was from Mississippi and just moved into Southwest Louisiana, didn't know anything about the area, and it's amazing how much he immersed himself in the community. And he's had chances to move to larger markets, and he stayed here in Lake Charles because he loved the community so much, and I think that shows on the air.
Make it a sunrise day, Southwest Louisiana.
Being together, especially early in the morning, you learn how to work with other people, and Ben had so much fun making friends and acquaintances just on the Sunrise show that it didn't matter who was doing Sunrise. He could fit right in with the new anchor that would come on and work well together. I think he knew what he was doing as far as the weather, and he can relate well to the co-anchors.
He used to love it when we had the kids come on with Ben in the mornings, and he could tell them about weather. He wanted other people to love it as much as him. He wanted those kids to learn about it, not just to come on the show and smile. He really wanted them to learn about it. And he'd take the time, he'd show them the computers, and he'd help them get ready to do their weathercast. And the kids loved it, Ben loved it, it was wonderful.
There's a community fundraiser, 5K or Tour Lafitte, a bike ride. If anyone asked him to do something in the community or go to a kindergarten class and tell him how rain comes from the sky, he was yes, 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 and he could just do it like the Energizer Bunny.
I think what made him a great meteorologist was the fact that he could put his life into a forecast. He could make it very personal to the people that were living here. If it dealt with the heat, if it dealt with severe weather, the cold and things like that, he would make it personal. He would talk about, experiences he's had in the past and what he does on the weekends and, going out to these different events and charities and things like that. And he got out into the public, and it really showed the public who he was outside of being just somebody on TV, because I think that's really what makes A meteorologist, a good one, is whenever you can be more personal with people. You can talk about numbers and things like that all you want, but when you share your personal life, what you're going through and things like that, it really resonates with the people. His story with Vincent, his cat, he loved his cat, and everybody loved Vincent. And even during Hurricane Laura, people were trying to find Vincent because Ben wasn't here. And there was a search party going out for Vincent to go to his house to find him. So I think that really, that him being personable and getting with people, I think that really touched a lot of hearts. Just being genuine with people and, not just getting up there to do it. You generally love what you do and it's not a job. And Ben would tell me that. He's like, it's not a job for me. I love getting up and doing this. I love telling the weather, being in people's homes and allowing people to help people get ready for the work week or for the work day. And I think just being a better person, just his personality would bring the best out of you. And it don't matter if you're having a bad day or anything, he could make you smile and it would turn your day around. And I think that's something that I've tried to instill. If somebody at my new workplace, if they're having a bad day, I want to try to make that better and, kind of inspire people. And I think that's what really Ben did for me, was inspire me to be a better person.
The benefit for Ben last summer, seeing him there with hundreds of people there just for him. I think in that moment, it finally clicked just about how many people in the community care about him. And that was just a sliver of the population. I do not think you will find someone who will say a negative word about him. If they do, you better watch out because I'm gonna come find him. But he was loved by so many.
Holly, thanks so much. I love my new pressure cooker.
Awesome.
High pressure usually means nice weather for our area because clouds can't form into showers and thunderstorms.
Ben is goofy and he is hilarious. He's so dry. Sometimes you just have to let the joke play out for a moment or listen before you speak. Really, take in what he has to say, because chances are there's a zinger attached to it. You just can't talk so quick that you miss it.
You're welcome, ladies.
A couple of years ago, he was working on his hurricane special for KPLC, and he needed some help shooting it. And I told him, hey, I don't mind. We can go after work and I'll help you. I'll shoot the story for you and you can just edit the story. And he said, yes, that would be great. We went to John Bridges' house and he had these shutters that Ben was highlighting. And so we're out there, no more than 20 minutes, quick shoot, do a quick little interview, get some B-roll, and we get back in the car, and it was in July of, I think, 2017. We get back in the car, and I'm laughing because he's just freaking out because he's like, I don't understand how y'all do this.
How do you feel?
Hot. I don't know how you do.
How do you feel?
Hot. I don't know how you do this job every day. I'm soaking this job every day. I'm soaking, we're all soaking wet. We've been outside for 15 minutes. And I don't know how you can do it, Cammy. I couldn't deal with this, sweating under my arms and all. And then you have to go in the air.
I do it every day.
How do you manage this?
Monday through Friday.
Oh my God.
Well, I love Ben for many reasons, and I think the main reason viewers love him too is he is unapologetically and authentically Ben. I feel like there aren't enough adjectives to really describe it all, but he is genuine, he is honest, he is no frills, he is a super hard worker, he is kind, he is passionate about what he does, and through all of that, and I think one of the common threads that we had on Sunrise too was he has a faith that was unshakable, and he wasn't afraid to speak it. And I think in these very heavy and dark times we've had the past few years, and certainly that Ben has personally faced, he's given us hope and reminded us of our shared faith that has gotten us through those moments too.
I'm going to miss Ben's positive attitude. We've talked since he was diagnosed with cancer, and the number one thing he was afraid of was that people were going to be disappointed because they would think that he was going to give up, that he was going to quit fighting. And that's not true. He's a hero for fighting. And whatever happens, it doesn't matter. It's what he's taught us as a community. He showed what it's like to hold your head high, to share what's going on inside, which he's done each day of his sickness. And that's a winner right there.
Ben's a guy that when you met him, you're never going to forget him. He's going to leave a lasting impact on you. He'd always put a smile on your face. And I miss seeing his name, coming up on my phone. Every time Ben Terry calls, it's like, okay, I can talk to him. And, I miss being here with Ben. Ben meant a lot to me, and it was really hard leaving KPLC, but it was really nice being able to have that mentor to really get you off on the right foot, because I never felt alone. If I was struggling, if I wanted to, just felt like I wasn't good enough, Ben was there to pick me up. He was there to make sure that I felt worthy, because this is a job that, sometimes you don't hear all the praise all the time. You might hear the negativity, but Ben, no matter what, would always praise you and always make you feel loved and welcomed.
Ben is like a brother to me, always has been, always will be. I love him with all my heart, and I'm not the only one. All of Southwest Louisiana and the world, because mind you, he's been on national TV. They love him, and he genuinely loves everyone back. He's Superman. I'm not kidding. He would call me, he would tell me how he felt. Obviously he didn't feel good. I mean, who would feel good going through that? But that didn't stop him. There is no one else in this world that I can think of that would be able to go through what he's going through.
Good afternoon to you.
And
well,
still
I'm of course here in Houston,
put on a button down and a tie and a smile and get all that information concise and tight in a little bow on this little package and just give it to you. There's no one else in this world that I can think of that could do that.
Ben is the most genuine person. He said what he meant what he said. If he told you he was going to do something, he was going to do it. I remember the morning that he came on with John and I to announce that he was leaving the air for a while, to fight his cancer. And that was one of the hardest mornings. We had another one on his last morning on air, was with John and I. He was doing it from his home, but we could tell, he was in pain. And John called him during the break to check on him, but that's how much he loved weather. That's how much he loved our community. That's how much he loved what he did. It kept him going.
I think about him knowing my kids since they were hours old, and then being part of our family reunions, being there when we pop firecrackers on New Year's Eve, waiting for him to throw us something at the Mardi Gras parade. All of those personal details that showed just how much Ben cared about you individually and our kids individually. And honestly, he cared about the community like that too. So I'm gonna miss that, all those things. I'm gonna miss talking to him about making sure he was going to church and us holding each other accountable that way. But I also am at such peace knowing that he's at peace too. Ben never shied away from sharing his faith publicly, but I think to get to actually know him more, with the faith being one of the central themes of your relationship, is one part that brings more peace through what he's been through with this trial. There's a verse in the book of James that talks about how our lives are just like a mist. We're here for a moment and gone. It's so short in the grand scheme of things. And I try to encourage Ben just that, he's only a few months older than me. He turned 40 this past year. I'm about to be 40. I always kind of felt like he was a big brother. And I don't feel old. I don't feel like I'm ready for my time on earth to be done. But with Ben, I thought, geez, Ben, and I told him this, the platform you've had publicly to really not just change the community and inspire the community. He was on the Today Show. He was featured on news outlets around the world before he even turned 40. For his message of hope and resilience, and the underlying part of all of that was faith in the Lord. And just seeing how he remained strong with that, and how ultimately right now, that is where he is finding his peace. While I cry, it's temporary tears because I will miss him. But I truly know I am going to see him again. And that is the mark of the best life lived. I think that's all I have.
You break it, you buy it.
So here we are, starting out, oh, and it's coming our way. Hear me out, the flame burns and there's no words to say. If you ever feel like you're moving along, I'll take you home. So fall in love, then have enough. You never know if it's gonna stay. You're the one. Times are tough, but darling, it'll be okay. Cause if you ever feel like you're moving along, if you ever feel like you're moving along, I'll take you home.
Okay, Ben, what do you think the weather's going to be like tomorrow morning?
It's going to be a little cool, but the good news is it looks like the rain should be out of here. Down in the 40s, cloudy, a little breezy, maybe still a little damp because we're not going to have a whole lot of sunshine today to dry things up. But, you know, otherwise, I mean, the rain should not be a factor as far as any additional rain tomorrow morning. It looks like it'll be out of here. Hopefully it won't be drizzling. That's the only thing that gets me sometimes is that drizzle. Sometimes the drizzle is the issue, but I think we'll be okay. Thursday's going to be nice. Sunny and 73 on Thursday. So if you want sunshine, you got to wait till Thursday, unfortunately.
Okay, Ben, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.